But let's talk about another kind of topic that's always big with the Ravens. Let's talk about momentum. This question comes from Chris Reed. Shout out to Chris, always asking good questions. Says we have good momentum going, and we have a relatively easy schedule from here. If we were to win out and gain the bye week by getting the number one seed, would you be scared about losing momentum like in 2019?
You say that one, McConnell. You say that first.
It's purely based on matchup. I don't think there's a problem with not having the number one seed. The reason why the Ravens lost in that game, I don't know if it was losing momentum. I think it was they didn't stick to their identity. We look back at that game and Mark Ingram got hurt early, and it was and they stopped running the ball against the Titans. They purely abandoned the run. And this was 2019 criticizing Greg Roman. Why are you abandoning the run? And we still talk about it. And they completely abandoned that identity. And when you abandon your identity, the momentum is lost. So, I think it's purely about matchups, because there are some teams where the Ravens would struggle with, right? Let's say they get the one seed. They would probably be playing the 4 seed or the 5 seed, that's actually who they'd be playing. They'd be playing unless another team upsets, the 6 or 7 upsets. But it's most likely the 4 or the 5 seed. 4 seed would probably be the Titans, is kind of my assumption right now. It's got to be the Titans. It's not going to be the Bills or the Dolphins in the 4 seed, and it's not going to be the Chiefs in the 4 seed. So if the Ravens were to get there, okay, it's the Titans, and the Titans would be playing the Bills or the Dolphins or the Chargers. Probably the 3 team, maybe the Jets, but the Jets suck. Okay, I know people are hyping them up. I like their young core. The Jets aren't actually that good. They have 6 wins. Shout out to them. They could make the playoffs, but they are not an elite team. Could they beat the Ravens? Yes. But I'm much more scared of facing, a Chargers with Justin Herbert, a Buffalo Bills, a Miami Dolphins. I think they're bigger threats. That is not a good matchup for the Ravens. Having to go up against the Bills, having to go up against the Dolphins. Could they win? Yeah. If they get the 2 seed, they'll be playing the same teams no matter what. I feel like the Bengals could end up making the playoffs. I think it's better to get the number 1 seed. Even though you could lose momentum, not having to play in the first round is crucial, because there's so many good teams in the AFC, because the Bengals could be a wild card team. And divisional matchups in the playoffs are 50-50. That is a tough game, right? The Dolphins could be there. Dolphins beat the Ravens, right? The Dolphins are explosive. Tyreek Hill in the playoffs. The Bills could be there, right? Probably the easiest team to beat in the playoffs is the Titans. And the Titans are going to win their division because their division sucks. That is the only team, and the only way you play the Titans is if you get the 4. If you're the number 1 wild card seed, which I don't think the Ravens will be, because if the Ravens lose the division, they would probably have to lose 3 more games. A 6-loss team, 11-6 isn't going to be the 5 seed. I don't think.
No, so I'm pretty much right now in the hunt so far. I'm gonna give it a breakdown. The Chiefs are number 1 if they was to end regular season play.
Yeah.
Chiefs number 1, Dolphins are number 2, Titans are number 3. We are the 4th. The Jets are the 5th. The Bills are the 6th. Patriots are the 7th. On the bubble, we got the Chargers and the Bengals and the Colts. So the question is, this is Chris Reed's question. How do we feel about momentum being lost? Me personally, with the team that we had in 2019, I feel like that team did need to continue to keep on rolling. Sometimes when we sing trains all the time. The only way it gets faster, you got to keep on throwing coal in it. You got to keep on going for it to keep on moving. You know, in order to push that truck, you got to push that truck. If you was an offensive lineman or defensive lineman back in the day, or even now, you got to dig deep. And you got to have that momentum to keep on pushing forward and moving forward. Do I feel like this Ravens team now can take a breather or rest and come back strong and healthy and dominate? I think I think we could do it. I think we did that. I think we showed it on Monday night and Thursday night, in prime time. So I feel like this team, is more. They're more locked in. It's so many different narratives, from the big contract to the wide receivers to the 2019 running game. The will the playmaker on the offense get MVP again? Oh, he's still throwing the ball like this. XYZ defense still looking like that. Oh, defense is now coming alive. So you have so many different narratives about this Ravens team. Oh, and let's not forget, we still get the hype about Jonathan Harbaugh being one of the best coaches, and also um, shout out to Peyton Manning. He gave props to Gregory Roman about being one of the best run scheme offensive coordinators, which he is. Can't take nothing away from that. But the thing is, if we do have the number one seed, the thing is, if we lose a player, make adjustments, but still stay true to the identity of this football team. We done seen it too many times. Like you brought up the Tennessee Titans. When Derrick Henry started running the ball and started, not going down, that depleted the defense to a way that they had no life in them. Where they didn't even want to tackle Derrick Henry. We saw it when it came to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if I don't think we had anybody hurt in the beginning of the game, but we just came out passing the ball. Do what got us into the playoffs. Gregory, people love you. McConnell and myself, they don't really like you like that, man. we being completely honest, we really don't. We respect you in the running game every now and then. And we don't like when you put Patrick Card out there and passing plays. And we got 4 tight ends and all the wide receivers just out there just on the sideline looking crazy, just like, hey man, you think we ever gonna get in? They start playing card games. They probably start playing on the sideline the way Gregory calls his plays. But the thing is, we can't keep on playing that subtle-minded football. We can't keep on playing one half. And against the Saints, we played all 4 quarters on the offensive side of the ball, and we continue to score. If Gregory Roman sets up game plans to continue to score, take time off the clock, and staying true to the identity all the way into the playoffs, I do feel like we can roll. We have a great chance of making it into the Super Bowl. So I do feel like, with this team, rest is the best thing that we need. So I feel like we won't really lose momentum with this group of guys.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is the way that they have to play, right? We've talked about it so many times. They got to be physical. They have to fight for every single point. The way that they have to play defense is going to be hard-nosed, gritty, smash-mouth, traditional football. I know in Baltimore, we don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we got to look back at, in my opinion, the most underrated dynasty in the history of football. Or not just the history of football, the history of sports, the 70s Steelers. I don't know why. I've been talking about them a lot this week, not on this show, but just a lot of people just keep bringing them up. I kind of joked. I was like, man, I keep bringing up like 70 Steelers. Am I like a closeted Steelers fan or something like that? Because that's like, in my mind, like that's football, right? That level of just ultimate steel curtain, physical ground and pound. The Ravens' last 2 games, do you know who they play, Joshua?
Who?
Pittsburgh, then Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Those are going to be bloodbaths. Getting a bye after that, a week off, let them recover. Yeah. Let them recover and return to football. Now, if their last 2 games were, we're playing against, maybe teams that aren't as physical, even if it is a tough game, a team like the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Chargers are a great team, but they're not super physical. You may not be nearly as banged up. Steelers aren't that good of a team, but they're going to play you like it's a boxing match, like it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
you're going to come out with some bruises against the Steelers because they hit hard.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to do. And so getting a bye, I think, is way better. And the whole momentum thing is like, it makes sense sometimes. If your team is riding momentum like the 2019 Ravens were, right? Then it helps. But this team, it has momentum, but it is purely based in we're going to smash mouth traditional football, beat these opponents like we're not football players, but like we're fighters, right? Like football was created to be the epitome of war. That was why it was created. It was like, hey, in war, you've got two sides and you're trying to get past the other side. And football was the best way for them to be like, hey, this is similar. And so that's why it was all running, it was trying to figure out how do we get this guy into the other side of the defense. You got to play it like it's war. You got to play it like you got to fight for every inch, fight for every yard, and tooth and nail scrape your way to victory. When you don't have the quality of wide receiver playmakers that other teams have, like the Bills or the Chiefs, and not the Chiefs as much anymore, but they're still talented. But the Bills or the Miami Dolphins and things like that, they got weapons, and they can sit back and they be like, oh yeah, we're gonna be flashing, we're gonna get by you. The Ravens and the Titans are the exact opposite, and they're gonna go out there and they're gonna try and beat you by running the football and playing hard defense.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, just say that one of your favorite movies, McConnell, is King Leonidas and the 300 Spartans. I mean, that's one of mine.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie right there, man.
Listen, even the second one was pretty damn good. I mean, honestly, that's just how the game of football is. And when you're a Ravens fan, I mean, that's pretty much what we do. We don't do what everybody else is doing. While everybody, I think you said it before, while everybody's going, in one direction, what we doing? We zigging and zagging. You know what I mean? So that's just the Ravens style, So I'll take it a step further. I'll take a Ravens team that catches momentum in the games that lead us to wins versus us riding off of, constant wins. Because if you can catch momentum, if you can catch that burst in the middle of a game, no, that's crazy. How many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes catch that momentum, ride that wave, and throw touchdowns back to back, and get his team back and win the contention? How many times have we seen Tom Brady? How many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers, one leg and all, making those crazy throws to Devontae Adams or Lazard or whoever it may be down there? I'm just saying, this is where this Ravens team shows their growth. Like, yo, we may be down, but guess what? We ain't giving up. We're going to keep on fighting. We're going to make a play where it's going to change the tide, and we're going to win this game. So I definitely like the way that you bring it up. So I'll take that. I'll take momentum in game versus riding the wave. I don't feel like this team, the way this team is built, we don't need to ride the momentum off of every win that we have. Is it good? Hell yeah. It brings the guys together. They feel more comfortable. They gelling and getting better. But also, when your guys are faced against adversity and they got their back against the wall and they're fighting their ass off to get, for survival and winning, that will bring them together even more. So it's always a different way to look at momentum. So Chris Reed, take the momentum during the game. Don't ride those wins. We just saw what happened Monday night. The Eagles rode a 9-0 win streak to the Commanders. And what the Commanders do? Hey man, we're crashing the party. We're gonna shut this down.
and in those types of games, the way the 2019 Ravens, the way the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 years ago, the way
the Patriots,
the way so many of these teams that are like carrying momentum. The problem is a lot of these games, they start off really quickly, right? 2019 Ravens, they started every game so good. I mean, the first quarter Ravens were unbelievable. Problem was they kind of slack off at the end. And they would still win big, but it was like there wasn't that much adversity. And, the Philadelphia Eagles, it's like, oh, yeah, they coast into the game and they're chilling. The way that the Ravens are playing now, the way that they have to build their own momentum throughout the game. That builds camaraderie, that builds culture, that builds just this idea of being physical. That also builds this idea of, hey, we're not out of it. And also the fact that they blew those leads, it sucks. But at the same time, again, you can look at this as a positive. Do not let this happen again. We have been here. We know what you need to do. You need to finish. You cannot start slacking. You cannot make bad plays. You cannot have bad penalties. You need to make sure that you are as physical from the jump as you are at the final whistle. This Ravens team, the way that they're playing and the way that they need to play is all about building that momentum in the game. And you can have momentum week to week, but the way that they're playing, it's, hey, that was another close game. And you can look at that in film and you can really pinpoint, hey, right here. Because when the Ravens were winning like 50, they beat the Dolphins, I think 59-10. When you win games like that, there's not a lot to take in and be like, we really messed up right here. This was bad. It's like, yo, you're scoring like every single time you touch the ball. You're scoring a touchdown like instantly and your defense is locking them up. There's not a lot that you can take from it. When you have these close, hard-fought games, you can analyze, hey, this went well, this went poorly. Now, it's nice to get some blowout wins. It's nice to have some great offensive showings. It's also nice to have these grind-out games. And the Ravens have had – how many games have they played? 9? They've had 9 grind-out games so far this season, and they've won 6 of them. They've lost 3. And you can take, shout out to Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. When he's making that sale, what does he say? He says, I don't ask my customers to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losses. Now, he also says, because there are so few, but you always want to learn from your mistakes more than you want to continue with your victories. Trying something new that doesn't work tells you more than trying something that does work a little bit.
And you know what, McConnell? I think we done missed a big piece of those catching momentum and winning, momentum in games and winning. You start to find out who your leaders are. It's been a big thing of Lamar Jackson doesn't talk a lot. Lamar Jackson doesn't show emotion. These last couple games, what Lamar been doing? He's been firing off. He's been letting people know. Hell, of course, everybody in the media is going to make a big deal about the quarterback getting into one of his guys. Well, how many times have we seen, and I keep bringing it up, how many times have we seen Tom Brady? Tom Brady has breaking tablets. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's totally ignored Mike McCarthy and called his own plays. We didn't see it all. We didn't see it all from franchise QBs to franchise linebackers, hell to even the safeties. We didn't see Ed Reed go in a completely direction when he came to playing Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. How many times did he break on Peyton Manning when he thought when Peyton Manning thought Ed was going one way and he showed him up many a times, and that was his own call. So I love this team. I love how they're moving. I love the way they are going. It really shows who wants it more. And sometimes when you see that your guy wants it more, usually your teammates start fighting more. Like, all right, dog, I see you win it. All right, baby, don't worry about it. I got you. Next play, see me. I'm open. Next play, move out the way. This running back, he's mine today. So I love to see it. I mean, it's great to see, who's stepping up to the plate or who's willing to, take that leadership role and be that dog for this team.
Yeah, I think in the way that you look at all the quarterbacks, all the teams that were great at comebacks, the quarterbacks were leaders. I know it's hated on. Russell Wilson, he's cringy, he's so annoying. Oh my gosh, Russell Wilson is the king, or was the king when he was in Seattle fourth quarter comebacks. Mm-hmm. And what was he doing on the sideline? Hey guys, let's keep going. We got to keep going. We got this. We believe in this. And I remember I think he was on the Manning cast and the Cardinals were playing and the Cardinals were down big and Manning and Peyton was like, hey, what are you doing right now in a situation like this? You're down big. It's like, he's like, I'm walking up the sideline. I'm talking to every single player and I'm telling them, hey, you know what? We got this. Let's do what we do. Let's get to that next level. And then they show Kyler Murray and he's just kind of sitting there like, I'm upset. Oh no. Does somebody have an Xbox? Maybe he's a PlayStation guy, but does somebody have a console? Anybody have Call of Duty? He's not doing anything. Kyler's not a leader. Kyler, maybe at some point he develops into one, but Kyler Murray is not known for doing that. Yeah. You look at all these scores, even a guy like Deshaun Watson, known for comebacks, in his career. He had a huge comeback win against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. In Josh Allen's second season, what would that be? 2019, I think it was. Okay. Huge game because he was able to say like, hey, we're going to keep doing this. And then what does he do? Oh man, he had some crazy play. It was like he got face masked, spun around, and like threw some crazy pass. I don't remember the exact scenario, but it was like, yo, what did Deshaun Watson just do? Because the leaders are able to step up and make plays. Lamar Jackson makes the plays. He is now starting to become that vocal leader of, hey, we can't make these mistakes. And he'll go out there, and the guys, they respond to it. It's not like we're seeing like huge fights and things like that. They all believe in Lamar. Lamar believes in them. He's just trying to make sure that everyone's doing their job. And that's huge for this team. That momentum throughout the game, that's being built. So, Chris Reed, great question. We got a great discussion out of that one. Joshua, is there anything else that you feel like we should talk about? This week, obviously we can record another show in a few days to, really prep for this game against Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, man. I mean, outside of Baker Mayfield, man, I know XFL. I think XFL had their draft today. Shout out to some of those guys. They got picked up. I guess I should tell them, TTB family, your boy done locked in on the PS5. So me and McConnell, we gonna work some out. We gonna work something out. We gonna talk about getting some tournaments or something.
Yeah.
What you got, McConnell? What you got? You got Call of Duty?
We got to figure out something. I think it would probably have to be some sort of sports game. I'm terrible at FPS games. I'm atrocious. I'm like the worst FPS player ever.
Hey, TTB family, Ravens Flap, y'all got 2K. Just let me know. Shoot us a message. I'll add y'all to the PSN. Maybe we can get a Pro-Am 20, see how we can do.
Oh, yeah. It would be sick if we could get a Pro-Am tournament going.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. That would be so much fun. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. If you're listening to the podcast platform, leave a review. It really does help out the podcast. Just getting it to more, trying to grow the TTB fam. But thank y'all so much, and we'll see all of you again next time.